y'all. My third video on an overview of blood. So today I'm going to be talking about blood filtration and blood cleaning. And there's kind of four main functions in blood cleaning. Two of them I've talked about, at least in brief, right? So expelling CO2 is the one that happens most often because CO2 is the toxin that builds up the fastest. So every time you breathe, you're experiencing blood filtration or blood cleaning to some extent. The other one is going to be the liver, and the liver is metabolizing, right? It's turning more dangerous chemicals to less dangerous chemicals as time goes on, even if some of those intermediaries hurt more. So with something like the alcohol metabolizing, right, it's an intermediary stage that gives you at least part of the hangover, the part that you can't get away from simply by hydrating. So the liver is metabolizing stuff, and what it's metabolizing stuff to do is to get it more able to be excreted by the kidneys and less damaging while it does circulate your body. Those are the two big goals of the liver metabolizing. So the two other blood filtration, blood cleaning systems that I want to talk about are the immune system, and in that we'll talk a little bit about lymph and what that means and what it does. And then the other thing is, of course, the kidneys, which are the most influential. They're the thing that governs how we filter blood, why we filter blood, and the ultimate filter, right? The thing that actually does the filtration. So, with immunity and lymph, in both the lymph vessels and the blood vessels, there are some concentration of immune cells. And there are a whole bunch of different types of immune cells. And they all have specialized roles and what they do and how they do it and what they do to work together. But the short version is there are a class of cells that are designed to tag non-me or non-you things in the body, right? In my body or your body. And that can be anything from a bad blood donation, right? One that your body rejects, to a virus or bacteria that we think about the immune system dealing with a lot, or larger things like a protozoa. If anything like that gets in your body, your immune system is going to deal with that as well. But also some weirder things that we don't often talk about with the immune system, like certain toxins, like snake venom is a great example of a toxin, or some snake venoms are toxins that you can develop an immunity to, expose your body to enough of these little dosages, and your immune system will develop a way to counteract it. Or rather, this system of tags, you'll tag the venom and then deal with it from there. So that's the tagging system in the immune response. And then the other thing is the actual consumption and breakdown of those. And those happen with the kind of foot soldier macrophage white blood cells. So the blood does this and the lymph does this. So whenever there are capillaries in the body, which is everywhere, right? Capillaries are the things that allow your blood to interface with any cell. So there's sometimes a few layers of cells in between a capillary and the target, but it's always very few because the nutrients outside of the blood travel pretty slowly in the grand scheme of things. And the blood is a really fast way of transmitting things. So as the nutrients or hormones, which we'll talk about next time, or water or whatever, salts, move across from the capillary to the cells, some of that is neither taken up by the cells nor moved back to the blood. And the process for retaining all of that is this lymph system. And lymph is a one-directional vessel system that brings everything from your extremities up to the core and into all these nodes in the body. that then the white blood cells can be broken down, processed, stored, saved, do whatever you need to do with that. The nutrients and salts and water can be reincorporated back into blood. All this kind of stuff. A similar sort of process as this diffusion across a membrane happens in the kidneys. So when blood hits a capillary, water and nutrients and salts move across that barrier. In the kidney, there's a specific capillary that crimps even tighter, so more fluid transmits across. More salts, more nutrients. Just about everything that's smaller than a cell, or some of the larger like sugar fat molecules, is going to move across into the glomerulus, or the smallest functional unit of the kidney. And the kidney has this super beautiful like architectural fractal design. And the kidney is one of the coolest organs to dissect because, well, you can't see a glomerulus because they're microscopic by definition. You can kind of get a sense of what it does just because of these increasingly small tiers of, they look like a river delta. And it's a river delta in reverse. So on the outermost cortex of the kidney, you have all of these little filtration units that first adopt all of the fluid, or as much of the fluid as you can, a bunch of salts and other little tiny things in the blood, and then it reintroduces through a series of loops everything that you want in your body, or as much of what you want in your body as you can while still creating urine. Because if you return too much water, then you get these little salt crystals, and those can move downstream and develop into kidney stones. So not to say it doesn't happen that the kidneys pull too much back, because it clearly does. But the goal is to kind of strike this balance of constantly creating urine and keeping the blood in balance. So you've got a lot of salt balance, some more acid balance, right? We talked about the lungs being the major contributor to acid balance, but the kidneys process all of the other acids, right? So all of the acids that are not carbonic acid. So those all flow down, become urine, and you eliminate that waste, or those toxins, or the alcohol, or the caffeine. Those drugs are diuretic because the kidney is trying to get rid of them, right? So the kidney sees we've got foreign toxin, doesn't care what it's doing to the brain like we do, or doesn't care as much as we do, and says, we're getting rid of this, make more urine, transport this out of the body. I guess there is backtracking to liver. Sorry, this is a little out of order. The liver also digests all of your own cells that wear out. So the life of a red blood cell is 60 days, I want to say. I could be wrong about that statistic, but I'm pretty sure it's 60 days. But after that, it starts to break down, and the liver metabolizes that, and then will put the metabolites, or the things that it produces from those bits of cells, either back into the blood to be reincorporated into new cells, or into the bile to be excreted with your stool, which is kind of cool. So there are internal processes that get excreted through stool, which is kind of something weird that we don't talk about a lot. So that, I think, is blood cleaning in a nutshell, and it is a huge nutshell. I talked about really complex systems. Like the other two videos, I talked about complex systems in the simplest way possible, but I feel like I got a lot of it done. This is 3 really complex systems that I hope to have done at least cursory justice to, but it definitely feels a little less complete. So I might do more videos on blood filtration and zoom way into kidneys, because kidneys are beautiful, and liver metabolism and whatnot. But for now, that's me down the road, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with endocrinology and hormones, because that's also beautiful. And another system I'm not going to get too in depth with because it's even more complex, even though it's just one single system that we're talking about. Yeah, so blood day 3, video 3, because I've taken 4 days to do 3 videos on blood. Go back and watch the other ones if you haven't. Watch my other videos if you're interested. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.